Mark Carney set a record. Breaking records. So his latest appointee has just made the CEO of Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation look like a pauper, as he rakes it in at $679,000. That's just his salary. There'll be a bonus on top of that, and there'll be trips and cars and all that other stuff, like a chauffeur-driven limousine and all the pomp that goes with it. So this former banker, and I thought they gave this post to Stephen Fuhr. I thought, why? And he's a former military guy. Why is he not competent enough? But instead, they put this guy in there for him. He's going to oversee our defense contracting. He's now the highest paid appointee at $679,000. We got to add this: $679,100. Did he negotiate that extra 100? How did they end up at 100 there?
And sure enough, he and Mark Carney were formerly business associates at Goldman Sachs.
Imagine that. And then just in comparison here, the $292,000 for the Comptroller General, $309 for the Minister of Finance, plus there's some other stuff. $325,600 for the CBSA President, $375 for the Ambassador to the OECD, $375 for the Commissioner of Revenue, on and 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 on. Let's not forget, these are just the appointees. There's also, like we talked about, Dr. Mona Niemer yesterday. She rolling it in at $393 for looking out at the sky, telling you how you need to call UFOs. Like, basically, language is everything. They're just like when you're talking about language is everything. Even when we're talking about UFOs, UFOs might get offended if you don't use the right language.
UFOers. I will say though, in defense of our dear, precious Liberal Party and also Stephen Fuhr, I think Stephen Fuhr he's going to be like the Democratic oversight, so to speak, isn't he? Whereas this guy's going to actually roll his sleeves up and do the actual job. That is often the case, isn't it? Where the ministers and whatnot, they're not really like in the trenches. They just kind of supervise and make decisions from a very high level.
But this is a new arm of the government, though. This is like brand new, like in a government that's.
But I think he might have supervision over it, though. That was my understanding when he did the press conference.
I get that. He will work for Fuhr, but I'm just saying this didn't exist before. This is a new one.
Yeah. But then the other thing I'd say, in defense of his salary, you don't want to. I say this often. Whatever you do when you run your government, just do the opposite of what they do in Britain, which is one of the I have to say at this point, the stupidest ruling class on the planet. Nobody's as stupid as they are. There's nobody that matches their stupidity. And what they do in Britain is they create jobs like this and they advertise it on the government website, and it's like salary £45,000 per annum, which is like maybe 70,000 Canadian dollars. Who the hell is going to do that job? You're going to get a kid. You're going to get a child who would apply for that sort of job. You do have like, it can be a bitter pill to swallow, but you do have to pay big money to get people with ability, don't you?
I would rather, if I was in that job, I would rather give them a smaller base and performance bonuses. If they get this done.
Yeah, well, there's that, sure, yeah. But either way,
look at Elon Musk.
that could work. But just don't do what the British do. Don't offer a salary that wouldn't even get you an apartment in London to rent. Don't do that. Don't be as stupid as they are.
Look at the Elon Musk and what he's accomplished. Zero salary, makes outlandish goals, and they say, well, I'll give you the moon if you can make these outlandish goals. And he's like, sure. And he does it, and then it's time to get paid, and they're just like, well, that seems like too much, right?